All right, and good day, everyone, and welcome to today's session of Truly Foundation and A Course in Miracles. Hi, my name is Oliver, and um, today I will again be your host, your temporary guide, your temporary teacher. Um, I am here um, to be um, the, the steward and the manager of this platform, which we have created for the sole purpose of sharing advanced spirituality to the community at large. And today is a special day because it is the last official day of the year 2022. And boy, what a ride it has been! What a blessing! What an experience! And I like to thank each and every one of you who have um, joined in on all or any of these uh, sessions, any of these workbook lessons out of A Course in Miracles, which we have shared commentary on. And I don't take it for granted that one would spend time, but I am happy and grateful that we are here, and whether you have um, uh, sat with us or whether you have not, at least you know that we're here. And we are here for you, and we are for your awakening, for your expanded awareness. We are for your uh, the we are here for your conscious awareness. We're here to assist in whatever it is required for us to to experience the peace of God, which is our natural state of being, as the Course said. And so, thank you so much. Just knowing that there are people that are joining in on these lessons, that there are people that are um, subscribing to this YouTube channel. We encourage you and invite you to do so, because these lessons will be housed there, and you can go back at the completion of this project or anytime during this project, and you can review any of these workbook lessons. And we only create them as an aid and an assistance and a help to you in your transformation, in your desire to renew your mind and to align and become in harmony and integrity with the truth that is true always, which is your true identity. We have no other motive. This is about you and your experience of what we call the real you, which is love. And that reminds me, I like to keep that running while I'm on here as a constant reminder. Um, Let me change that. That's what I meant to put up. And let's go back and put up the lesson for today, which is today's lesson is going to be out of A Course in Miracle workbook section for the students, lesson number 267. We're inside of the 100 mark. We got less than 100 lessons left. We started this journey back on January 10th, I believe, of this year, 2022. And we have been dedicated and committed to seeing it to the very end. So we have produced over 300 of these lessons because we've had some part twos and some part threes of some of the lessons. And so we're just creating a treasure chest to be here not only for our generation, but for generations to come. And so it just thrills my heart that we get to do this, and you get to do it. Some of you are doing it with me on a live platform because every lesson is recorded in a live platform on our YouTube channel, as well as on the Truly Foundation YouTube channel. And so, however you're getting this, if you're getting it, the original here in 2022, bless you. If you're getting it in the future and watching the recordings and it's benefiting you, uh, bless you. It doesn't matter. In reality, time is an illusion, as we teach here. So whenever you're getting it right on cue, right on time. So thank you so much. We're going to jump right on into today's lesson. And again, we are in the second half of the, the training. We're in the second half of the workbook. We're in the second half of the course for the workbook lesson student. And in this half, it is we're spending the last 100 or so days now just focusing. Now that we have let go of this false self that we thought we were, we have forgiven ourselves. We have forgiven the dream of separation and the dreamer. We'll realize that it's only through forgiveness that we're able to see what was always there. It is through the letting go of the falsity and the unreality of an identity that we made that we're now able to see the love that was always present, to see the reality of our oneness with God and with each other. And that is such a blessing. That is just the beginning. Really, this is just the beginning. And so we turn again to another idea that is being introduced to us today, whereby we are in this, again, second part of the course workbook lessons, where now we are just totally focusing on true perception. What is true about it? Now that the rain is gone, we can see clearly now. Now that the illusionary self that we made has been placed in its rightful place, which is no place at all. A shadow is a shadow is a shadow. A cloud without water is a cloud without water. Really, it's nothing. So the false self that we made, really, it's nothing. Why? Because it's, how can we create nothing from nothing? Like they say, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. But we thought it was something, and it created a tremendous amount of impact on the human race, to where all of the human race got affected by the virus of sin conscious guilt and fear. But now that the rain has gone, now that the veil has been lifted, now that the blocks to the awareness of love's presence has been removed, the only thing that is left is the will of God. The only thing that is left is the real you that loves you. And so on this backside of this 365 lessons, we're spending the last section here on just concentrating completely on that which is real, on the real you, so that our perception and our self-image of ourselves is in alignment and in harmony and is in integrity with who we are, without a doubt. Because where there is integrity and harmony and alignment with God and the truth and the oneness that we share, there is no doubt. There is no fear. Perfect love has cast out all of the illusionary thoughts of fear, all the thoughts of scarcity and lack, all the thoughts of guilt and sin consciousness. It's all disappeared. It got consumed by the light. It got consumed by the reality. So see, nothing happens outside of the one thing. Nothing happens outside of the love that we share and the one creator that is responsible for all of this. Nothing happens. And so today's idea says that our heart is beating in the peace of God. Notice now, it says our heart is, meaning presently beating. If your heart is beating, it's beating in the peace of God. My heart is beating. When we hear the word heart, heart refers to that which is this, that is central to all of us, that which is the center of all of us, that which is the essence of all of us, that which is the nature of all of us. So our nature is beating in the presence of God. Our true self, the real you, is beating in the presence of God. Because what God is all there is. Remember, we said God is and there is nothing else. The presence of God is what everywhere. And so whatever activity, whatever event, whatever idea, whatever thought, whatever feeling, whatever emotion, whatever we are experiencing, guess what? It said we are experiencing it within the peace of God. It is beating, it is happening because of the peace of God. And if we're not experiencing it in peace, it's just an indication that our thoughts need correction. Our perception needs to be corrected. Because in God, all things are good. In God, all things that come from the thought or the idea of God. He didn't say that it was good. Really, he said, well, it is very good. And if we are not experiencing the very good, if we're not seeing the very good, it just means that we are somehow misaligned. We're somehow out of harmony or out of integrity with our true self. We have erred in our thinking. And so that's why the Course in Miracles has been given to us as a tool only, not a religion. The Course in Miracles is not a religion. It is a gift from God to help us to understand that it is our responsibility and it's our decision to know the truth that sets us free. To know the truth that sets us free. And so he has given us this Course in Miracles to help us to what? Become vigilant about God and the reality of our oneness with God, and to teach us how to align our thinking, how to align our perception, which will activate feelings and actions and experiences within us that is in harmony with our true self, that are in harmony with the will of God. And so today's lesson, my heart is beating in the peace of God. There is one that's breathing all of us. There is only one life, one being, one love, one self that breathes all of us. Every heartbeat, every breath that we take, it doesn't happen outside, but it happens within the peace of God. And that peace is shining in us right now. And you might be saying, I don't sense the peace. I don't feel the peace. I got this going on and that going on. Have you not heard the news? Do you not know what's going on in the world? Do you know we're in a recession? Do you know that we're in this and that and this and that and on and on and on and on? We repeat all the appearances of the world. And then we wonder why we're not in peace. Why? Because we are focusing on the appearances of this what perceptual world, which are these which by virtue of our making is designed to keep us from the peace. So that means that there has to be a transformation that takes place in order for us to realign and come back into harmony and to come back in integrity with the peace that is always present. It's a work that we have to do. And it's the most important work that one can do is transformation. It is the most important thing that you can do all of your life. Just say yes to the process of transformation, whereby you let go of the falsity that you thought was real. And then you embrace the reality that has always been present, that never changing, never altering truth, knowledge, law of God, which we call the law of love. And so transformation is really the recognition that I beheld a false idea, but I choose by my own will and my own power to release it, to let it go, to forgive it. So that what? So that I can embrace only that which is reality, that which is truth, that which is eternal, that which is infinite, that which is impersonal, and that which is self-aware. We cannot avoid transformation. That's why Paul said it over in Romans 12:2, I believe, and I could be wrong. He said, be not conformed to this world. First of all, he said, present yourself. I think it's 12:1. Let me look, because I don't like to be wrong. I don't want to think you guys that I'm just talking with no knowledge. I'm not like that. I like to be factually accurate. I get that from my wife. He says here, Romans 12:1, I was correct in the New Testament of the scriptures. Paul says here, I beseech you, brothers, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies or represent your bodies a living sacrifice. You know, when we talk in terms of sacrifice, generally the end of a sacrifice is dead. You know, I was coming home last night and and it was at night, and I came up on something I saw on the road, and I tried to turn away from it, but my right tires caught it, and I felt so bad. I felt so bad. Notice that. My response to that, oh, I felt so bad. And so I came home, and it's dark. It was dark. It was 10 o'clock at night. And I felt so bad that I washed my car. I washed my car. And after I washed my car, I got in my car and I drove back to the place where I ran over that carcass that was in the road. I wanted to make sure I didn't, run over somebody. And so I went back right to the place where I saw what I had hit. It was a night creature that was already in an animal kingdom, animal heaven. So I felt better after knowing that. So here it says, I beseech you. That word beseech means I implore you. I invite you by the mercies. Well, before I read that, let me go back because it said, therefore, I beseech you, therefore. And so let's go back and see what it was there for. So we're going to go back to the previous verse, which would be chapter 11, and the last verse in chapter 11 says, for of him and through him and in him, of, through, and to, are all things. This is an acknowledgement that all things are the one thing. For from him and through him and in him are all things. All things consist into the one thing. To whom be glory forever. So here it establishes there is but the one thing. God is, and there is nothing else. And then so it says, because of this, because of the oneness of God, because of the all-inclusiveness of God, he said, now I invite you, therefore, by the mercies of God, that you would represent. It says present here, but here I think the idea is to represent yourself, because we have presented ourselves in this world as what we thought we were, based on information that was false. We thought we were this separated body, mind, self. We thought our life began only when we were born from our mother's womb. We thought that we were this finite self, limited self, that was separate from every other self, that we were this personal self, and that we were not aware of reality. And so we created this entire system in this world, and wasn't operating from the premise of oneness, that from him and to him and through him, that all things are one, that God had reconciled the whole world to himself. And now there only exists the reality of oneness. And so that's what the entire world was operating from, that premise. And so now we have awakened, we have recognized that we were misaligned. We realized that we were out of harmony, and we realized that we were out of integrity with reality. And so when we recognized that and made the shift, we let go of the falsity. Now we have all that is present is love present. We now can see clearly that the rain is gone. We can see clearly that the falsity, we no longer give any credence to our false self. We no longer give credence to the idea of separation. But now we know that we are part. We are at the heart of the one life that we all share. We are of the same heartbeat. We are of the same breath. We are of the same source. We are of the same life. And so our mind is at peace. Our mind is at rest. We can co-create with each other and with our Father based on this oneness, based on this reality. And so now that we have realized this, he says, I beseech ye, therefore, that ye represent your bodies. Now that we have repurposed everything for the purposes of God. Now everything has meaning, deep meaning and good purpose. Now God is in the business with his creation, which we are, his representatives, his ambassadors, his spokespersons. We have represented ourselves as the as the only creation of God. We have represented ourselves of having the same nature and the same essence of our Father. We have represented ourselves as the one, the Christ. We have represented ourselves as love, the real you that loves you. Now that we've done this, he says, he said that we are to represent our bodies, not as something dead, but as something alive. Why? We now have repurposed our life for the purpose of God. And in God, there is no death. There is no separation. There is no division. There is no lack. There's no scarcity. There's no fear. There's no dread. There's no past. There's no future. There's only the now. And all things are now in Him, through Him, to Him, right now. And we are a part of that. We're in the heart of that. We are not on the sideline as spectators. We'll not step this or step that. No, we are the very expression of who God is. What a way to end 2022. Knowing who you are. You don't have to take this falsity into the new year. You know who you are. You know why you are. You know where you are. And that is grace and peace being multiplied unto you. Why? Because of the knowing of the self. Because of the knowing of your true self. So we represent ourselves, not as dead, but as alive. Not as sinners, not as fallen, species. None of those false ideas that we were perpetrating. But we present ourselves, it says, as holy. We are whole and complete in Him. We are whole and complete in ourselves. So that's what holy means, that we're wholly complete. We'll feel with the fullness of God. We have been blessed with every spiritual blessing in the heavenlies. He had preordained that we should be holy and without blame before Him in love. That's how we're presenting ourselves now. The truth. We're presenting ourselves as the way, the truth, and the life. Just like our elder brother. He says that we should represent ourselves holy and acceptable. We're not the reject. We don't have a low self worth or low self-esteem about ourselves. We're not inferior to God. We're not inferior to each other. There is no inequality nowhere in this relationship. But we have equality with our Father and with all living things. This is how we're presenting ourselves now. No longer conformed or reformed by the world. He said, we present ourselves holy and acceptable unto God, which is our what? Which is our reasonable service. We present ourselves this way. Why? Because this is who we are. Why should we present ourselves any other way? Why should we think less of ourselves? Why should we think that there is anything that we require, that we need? All that we need has been provided. All of it is already in the substance that we are. We can just begin to think about. We begin to just think of the experience that we want. We are creative beings. We just hold our thoughts. We hold every thought of God, the will of God in our minds. And it'll be added unto us. We don't have to chase after things anymore. He said, this is our reasonable service. So it's reasonable. It is not arrogant, but it's reasonable. It is not high-mindedness, but it's reasonable for you to have the same idea about yourself that God does. God said he knows the thoughts that he thinks of you, and that is thoughts to prosper you. Thoughts to what? For you to engage in the happiness of this experience of knowing yourself. For you to experience the peace that passes all understanding. For you to know the abundant life, like Jesus said, I have come that you may have this life and have it how? More abundantly. So it's not high-minded. It is not egotistical. For you to declare and experience and put on display the light that you are, the love that you are, the certainty that we share. No, it is arrogance for us not to do that. My wife just entered into the door. She's bringing this calming effect on me. As I represent myself. Thank you, honey. Oh, by the way, hello, Heidi. I see you out there. Heidi, I get excited. I get excited about the truth. It's almost like I'm gonna come outside of myself. So it's our reasonable service. It's a reasonable thing. Jesus presented himself in this reasonable manner during his earthly walk. He did. He presented himself. He said, God is my Father. God is love. God is light. In him there is no darkness. Jesus said, I and the Father are one. When you see me, you've seen the Father. He said, I only hear what my Father says. I only do what I see my Father do. I come here to do thy will, O God. I'm born of God. I'm born of love. I'm the son of God. I'm the offspring of God. All that God is, I am. All that I am that God is, I am him, he's in me, we're one. So it was his reasonable service. And for that, the unawakened, the uninformed, the religious folks, they sought to hang him high and get rid of him because he was an affront to their ideas. He was an affront to their thinking. He was an affront to their what? To their falsity, their hypocrisy. They're misrepresenting who they really were. And so when you wake up, when any of us wake up to the reality and recognize our oneness with the Father, and we refuse to be any other way in any other thing, and we represent ourselves to the world as the light of the world, as the savior of the world. Don't be surprised if you get a second look. People don't take a second look. Don't be surprised. But don't worry about being crucified. You have not been called to that. He wasn't even called to that. He decided to use that to what? Demonstrate that what? Death is not real. He decided. He made that decision for what? For his brothers, for those that will come after him. He said, hey, there's nothing to fear. I have overcome the world. So have you. I have overcome death. So have you. So he was a good elder brother to be honored. And we thank our elder brother. And there's been others that have come after him. There's been good elder brothers that have demonstrated the love, the true identity of who they are. There are many present on the planet right now. There's never been as many people on the planet at one time in the history of humanity that are awake to the reality, that are enlightened and to the recognition of who they are. There's never been that many people on the planet at one time. And if it wasn't for the presence of just the one, we will have self-destructed. But it only takes one. One. Jesus showed us and proved to us that it only takes the one. Why? He said there's only the one. And we are, you are, I am that one. When you come to accept the atonement for yourself, the truth for yourself, you become that one. So we're all that one. And there's only the one. And so only the will of God shall prevail. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. This is what my friend Heidi says. They are all symbols, but symbols. I mean, our incarnation is a symbol. Your incarnation is a symbol of the one mind and our desire to what? To wake up to that reality. That's so true, Heidi. We're our incarnation, all of us, everybody that ever have graced this earth is a symbol of the symbol of love. When you see through true perception, when you see through the mind of God or the mind of Christ, we don't see 8 billion different. But we only see the one. And it takes what? It takes, or it requires only a small shift in our perception. Just a small shift. And that shift is to turn away from the falsity, to turn away from the unreal. But it's all in our mind that believe that it's separate. But when we embrace the reality of our oneness and the one mind that we all share, the one life that we all desire, and all these symbols, as Heidi says, they are repurposed and they are actually used to help to correct our perception, to correct our understanding. And so, verse 2 says, and be not conformed. Don't misinterpret the symbol. All in this world is basically, it is a symbol of love when we shift our perception. Everything shifts over to love. It says, be not conformed or conned by this world, by the forms of this world, or the symbols of this world. Thank you, Heidi. You're helping me here. You're helping me to simplify this so people can understand it easier and better. We're not trying to complicate the truth. The truth is simple. It is not complicated. We complicated life when we turned away from reality. So it says, be not informed by this world's way of thinking, way of being, way of seeing. It says, but be ye transformed by the renewing of the mind. And that's what we're doing here. The constant, the daily, the moment by moment, in every instant, we are renewing our minds. We are reminding ourselves of who we are. This whole platform was based on the idea of reminding humanity of who they are. That's why the course gives us 365 lessons. Why? Because we need to remind ourselves every day. It's 365 days in the year. And we need to hold the thought of God every day. We need to hold the thought of truth every day. We need to remind ourselves. Why do we do all of this? And this is not easy work. Transformation, renewing of the mind. It is the hardest work that you will do. To be able to look past the symbols, to look past the appearances that this world would want to show you, to deceive you, to look past it, to train your mind to look past it and hold the thought of truth only. That's the work that we've been called to. That is the work that we've been called to. And it takes vigilance. It takes vigilance for God in his kingdom. It takes vigilance. Jesus, as a man, had to do the same work. It didn't just fall into his lap. But he had to remind himself just like you. He had to go away and have quiet time just like you. He had to meditate and remind himself just like you. He had to look past all the symbols and the appearances of this world just like you. And remind himself of what the truth is just like you. And no one is born in automatic and born into this world and don't have to go through the process of transformation. No one. Even Jesus of Nazareth had to go through it. And he is our model. His life is our example. He was no special being, but he came as a representative of love, just like all of us have. And he had to find that out. He had to come into the awareness of that. And then when he did, he played full out. Now that you have come into the awareness of your true identity, are you ready to play full out? Or do you want to still play with the sharp-edged children toys of unforgiveness, inequality, misidentification, being conformed to this world? Or do you want to walk in the light that you've been given? It is your choice. It's your choice. So choose this day who you will be the servant to what? The ego thought system of separation, sin, consciousness, guilt, and fear. Or will you serve your reality of love and light and joy and peace and happiness and fulfillment and contentment? Being a savior and a creator. There's really only one choice. And so he says, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Why? Because it's something that we need, something that is required of us as a representative of reality, as a spokesperson for reality, as the teachers of God. And what is that? That we may prove. God has guaranteed. He says, so I want you to prove what I guarantee. That we may, he said, that we may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Yes. That is your perfect will, to prove that you are that which God said that you are, that you indeed remain as God created you. Yes, that is our assignment. That is our role. That's our calling. And all of us have been called, but like they say, few have chosen. Yes, yes. I got my co-teacher here with me today, so I'm going to share her ideas, her thoughts. Because we have given the separation reality. We have tried to make something to replace reality because we've done that. That's what is meant here when you say because we have given the separation reality. We have tried to make something as a replacement to reality. Now the work is to bring the darkness to the light, the unreality to the what reality, to bring the falsity to reality, to bring it to the truth. So that what? So we can forgive it. So we can what? Release it. So we can what? Forgive our error. So we can forgive our mistake. Because remember, of course, if there is no sin, we just what? We just made an error. We made a mistake. And guess what? Errors and mistake can be what? Corrected. And the means by correction is, as my co-teacher said here, is forgiveness. So thank you again, Heidi. Forgiveness is that work. And until we complete all of our forgiveness work, guess what? We still have work to do. We still have work to do. As long as we are holding on to any grievance, as long as we are holding on to any falsity about our identification, as long as we're trying to exclude others, even one idea, if we hold one idea of exclusion, Jesus said he left the 99 to get what? The one, because for love must be total. Love must be complete. Your forgiveness, it must be total. Your forgiveness, it must be complete. You can't hold on to one exception. There are no exceptions. For there to be exception is to exclude God. He said, because as much as you exclude one, you exclude me. Because that one that you exclude is me. So we're in a fix here. There's no way out. We have to surrender. I mean, we have no option. And why would you want to hold on to pain and suffering? Why would you want to hold on to falsity and to what? Vain imaginings? Why would you want to hold on to a fantasy? Why would you want to hold on to an illusion? When the truth is everywhere present. When what you're looking for is right there. And so we prove what is that good, perfect, acceptable will of God. That is what we're here for. So if you never knew your purpose, that's why you're here. Inform. That's why you're here, as a symbol of love. So to get back to the lesson 267, my heart is beating in the peace of God. It's going to make a whole lot of sense now since we've laid that foundation. So I'm just going to read through it. My heart is beating in the peace of God. Surrounding me is all the life that God created in his love. All of it. The presence of God is everywhere. Love is everywhere. The living substance that is the thinking substance is everywhere. He calls it his love. It calls to us in every heartbeat that we share, every heartbeat that we experience. It says that this life, this love surrounds us. And in every breath that we breathe, it surrounds us. Remember what Paul said over there in Romans 11, the last verse there, where it says, so it is from God, from this love, through this love, into this love, that all things consist. It calls to us in every heartbeat, in every breath, in every action, and in every thought. All the life that God created, you've never been apart from it. We've never been apart from it. It surrounds us. We've just been asleep to it. But when we wake up, we can see clearly now. Now my mind is healed. But before I say that, let me say this. Peace fills our heart. The peace of God is shining in us now. Peace is always shining. Love is always shining. Peace fills our hearts and floods our body. Remember, we said that when we repurpose the body becomes a healthy, serviceable instrument to ensure that we fulfill our role, to ensure that we are the light of the world, to ensure that we're able to carry out our function, which is forgiveness. So the body will serve you mightily when it's repurposed. When it's not in alignment and in harmony with the purpose, we have given it purposes that it cannot hold, like our identity. The body will fail us. That's where we see the dis-ease in the bodies. That's where we see the malfunctions of the body. It's not happening because of the body itself. It's happening because the mind is given its purposes that it cannot carry out. Like they say in my neighborhood, he has written a check that he cannot cash. That's what we do when we take the mind and believe it's separate and try to make the body the central focus of life. No, the central focus of life is love. And the body is just waiting on us to put on display the demonstration of love in all our relationships, in all our comings and goings. So peace fills our heart and floods our body with the purpose with the purpose of forgiveness. See, that is the purpose. The forgiveness work. You can't get around it. Purpose of forgiveness. It says, now my mind, until forgiveness is complete. He said, until that forgiveness work is done, the mind can be misaligned and in disharmony. He said, but once the forgiveness work is done, he said, now my mind is healed. So healing comes through what? Forgiveness. It comes through releasing, shifting one perception of falsehood for the perception of reality. Just that simple. You don't have to pay a dime. You don't have to give nobody any of your money. You don't have to go and confess. You don't have to, go and be in service and none of this religious stuff that we think we have to do to feel good about ourselves. You don't do anything. Just let go. Just forgive. And you've done everything. This is a good year-ending message right here. We're not carrying this stuff into 2023. We're leaving the old mindset behind. We're leaving it behind. Now my mind is healed, and all I require to save the world is given me. So your mind won't heal just for yourself, but it will heal for all humanity. So that what? Now that you have awakened, you become the gentle awakener. You become the savior of the world, like it says. Because you got what? A healed mind. The Course says that the world is filled with unhealed healers, and they're messing people up because they're not healed. You can only give that which you have received. You can only share that which you have become aware of. And when you become aware of your oneness with God and all creation, now you can give it. And give it with certainty. And give it with confidence. And give it in love. It says, now my mind is healed. And all I need to say, all I require, I don't use need anymore. We don't need anything. We require certain things. So what is required for me to be the savior of the world is given unto me. It says, each heartbeat brings me peace. Heartbeat is just a symbol of our oneness. He says, so each heartbeat brings me peace. It says, each breath infuses me with strength. These are all poetic, beautiful expressions of the beauty that we share, the oneness that we share. Each heartbeat brings me peace. Each breath infuses me with strength. I am a messenger of God. We become ambassadors for God, messengers of God, teachers of God. We're all teaching something. What are we teaching? Directed by the one voice, sustained by the one love, and held forever quiet and at peace within the loving arms, which represents the loving presence, the loving truth that is ever present, and the truth that is forever true, always. Each heartbeat calls the name I am. Each heartbeat is a heartbeat of the I am that God is. Therefore, I am one with the God is. And everyone is answered by his voice. His voice is his love. His voice is his light. The voice of God is his presence. Assuring to me that I am. See? Assuring me that what? I am. That I am. You are that you are. At home. Not I'm going either further to say as him. Not in him, but as him. When you are one, there is no in or out. There's only what? There's only oneness. Join as one. So you are at home as love. It's not a symbol, but the reality of love. Here in this three-dimensional world, we symbolize the love. But in reality, we are the love. And we all share in that love. And the good news is love has forgotten no one. So there's none lost. That's what Jesus meant. He said, all that you've given me, I have lost none. I can say it. All that God has given me, I have lost none. You can say it with confidence and boldness that all that God has given me, I have lost none. When you are awake to the truth that is true always. And so, in conclusion of this lesson, in the conclusion of all the work that we've done this year by bringing you and sharing with you these commentaries, these lessons, in conclusion, we're not coming to a conclusion based on error, but we'll come to a conclusion based on the truth. So in conclusion to our 2022 year, in conclusion to Truly Foundation, in conclusion to me sitting here representing you as being a representation of your temporary teacher, your temporary host, your temporary guide. I only say temporary because I'm pointing you to the permanent voice, the permanent self that you are, that we all share with God. The equality that we all now know that we experience with each other and in all living things. This is what we conclude. This is a conclusion to the matter. We have examined the matter. And this is our conclusion. Let us attend to God's answer. Notice now, we say, let us contend to God's answer. Let us contend to the truth and not our own. Conclusion. Let us attend or give attention or give focus to what God says, to every thought of God. Each one of these lessons represent a thought of God. Every lesson that we brought forth to you this year, we brought it forth with a central idea or a central theme or a central thought, which is the thought of God. So we conclude that God or love is the answer and not our own ideas. And so it is our one Father. Our heart is beating in the peace the heart of love has created. Notice that. The heart of love has created all of this. God has created all of this. God has extended his very own self or its very own self and created all of this. And now we conclude that this is all in the peace the heart of love has created. It is there and only there that we can be at home. So I declare in conclusion that we are at home in the heart of love that God created, the I am, where we could only be in reality, where we have remained in reality. The dream of separation, the hallucination of a false self has all disappeared. Where? Into the heart of God, where we remain. And so it is. So our heart does beat in the peace of our Creator. And there is no exception. There is no separation. There is God, and there is nothing else. And therefore, we rest our case. We rest in peace. Peace is the goal here, and peace is where we stand. Well, thank you so much. Oh my God, we wrap up this last lesson for this year. Like I say, this is only the beginning. Oh, it only goes up from here. It only expands from here. There's no end to what we are in and through and with and by. There's no end to our expression. There's no end to this love that we find ourselves in. There's no end to the beauty and the joy and the splendor and the ecstasy. There's no end to the euphoria, the intense excitement and feeling that we are experiencing. Paul said it this way: we're going from glory to glory to glory, and there's no end to it. So I namaste you and say happy, glorious, infinite, endless new year and beyond. Beyond time and space, beyond form. Our happiness is, there's no word to explain it. So let me stop trying. So long. Happy New Year to everyone. And we'll see you on the other side. Peace. Bye-bye.